Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, last night, the church decided they wanted to protest too much against the AP article that just slammed them for the hotline that's supposed to protect the victims, as they claim, but in reality only protects the leaders and the church itself. I'll figure that out later. They were trying to attack minute issues with the article. And when you do that, that means the basic premise is correct. It's a legal strategy to try to get off on a technicality, which is what Lori Vallow was smiling in court the other day for, is because she thinks that she's got a case for a technicality that's going to set her free so that she can become the goddess again to wipe out the earth for the second coming. And so, yeah, it's a bad sign when your defense is an acceptance of the main premise and you're fighting technical issues. But as I've been teaching you guys, as I do actual research, and for the actual research I have Mormons who come at me upset that sexual deviance is supposed to be acceptable and is God's will. And this is because the church itself are setting the bad example for the members. And it's not just sexual deviance, it's physical violence, as Brigham Young was also a murderer. With the blood atonement and the penalties of death in the temple, he is a very bad man, Mormons. And yeah, I understand you're going to go through a faith crisis. Your whole belief system will be shattered, as we've been lied to our whole lives. But you need to come out of that false thinking. You need to dismiss every single precept that the church has taught us. And you've got to reevaluate what truth is and how to research truth. Because it's not your opinion, it's not your spiritual feeling that determines what truth is. You've been deceived. And they've used that fallacious thinking process to keep you in bondage in the church. That you need to trust in them when they tell you to trust in the Lord, because they're passing the buck off to Jesus as being the one who accepts all of this. And there is no scriptural evidence for hating your neighbor as God's plan of happiness for mankind. So it's that simple. The church is upset with me because I keep exposing all of this, and you guys don't get it because the church never comes out and uses my name. They do things like locking me up here, destroying my life, and you guys aren't able to see that it's the church that's done this to me. I am. I showed you the whole time. I let you know what the church was up to, and what they were plotting, and what they were trying to do, and then they did it. And I told you they were doing it. And then I told you they did it. And you still don't believe? You're still in denial? You're still running away from my channel? So yesterday was a major drop in views. despite putting up 6 videos, which, is supposed to help generate. The more videos you put up, the more views you get, obviously. But even with that, the views tanked. And it has to do with the attack we're under right now, as there's a concerted effort to delete internet search results. Trillions and trillions of search results are gone. As you can see that... Are you kidding me? So I get to have a leprous face today. And nobody's stopping it. And it seems to be an actual deliberate act on the search engines. Because it's not stopping. It's a daily, regular process now. What gets put up gets taken down by the end of the day. Or the old stuff gets taken down. And nobody sees this as a national security threat, I guess. But, yeah, all my stuff are gone. The old stuff I've done, gone. And in and of itself, that's a cybercrime. And I can't convince anybody of this, apparently, and it's not being covered in the news. But you can run the test for yourself. Just type in anything. I've been using the church as my test model, because I know that the church has tons of stuff, not just from the church, but from critics of the church. And both of those should be up there, and yet, a major chunk of it is now gone. The church is purging their file systems. Only the main sites still remain, but yeah, it's ugly. So, this is bugging me. But, yeah, you can't claim to be the one true church with the one true Christ when you're committing crimes, when you're seeking to overthrow America. And that's what the church has a history of, and they can't escape that. Just like they can't escape translation. It was Brigham Young who chose to keep Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon and take it with him to continue to recruit using those guys and those things. But he thought that changing them to Christian from Jewish would resolve the problem, but no, it came back to bite him. The publishing of the Pearl of Great Price in, 1890-ish, somewhere around there. That sort of ruined it for the church, as almost immediately other people were criticizing it, as Egyptian had been more deciphered, sign lists were developed and published, but yeah, not having Joseph Smith to explain it for us, because he was assassinated, made it difficult for Brigham Young to explain it, as he knew nothing of the origins of the church or translation, let alone prophet, seer, and revelator. One of his talks, I found, he had referred to revelation as astrology. And so he did know of the origin of the church, but he was screwing it up with his Methodist background and his Illuminati hatred, white supremacy hatred. So, yeah, I don't understand why Mormons are still remaining in the church, other than they're refusing to watch the news to learn all of this. This is the news, guys. They're a legitimate news source. The guy did an investigative article. The bishop came forward to complain that, the sexual predator had gone after his daughters, and the Hotline put him in a very difficult position, as the sexual predator was given preference. The article, or yesterday's reply from the church, may have also come out as a result of 6 churches being vandalized in Sandy yesterday. They showed the graffiti on the news of Predators Welcome, and so I think that's also why the church needed to do something yesterday as well. But again, the church can't survive. I mean, the Boy Scouts, they tried to back out to distance themselves, but the church were the major funders and suppliers of the victims and the abusers. The church is mostly responsible for what happened to the Boy Scouts. And they're hoping everybody forgets about that. Nobody should forget of the atrocities that the church are involved with. And when a member is involved, the way the church is organized, legally, the church gets in trouble too. Because the church is responsible as the captain of the ship. And if they're teaching the Mormons wrong, church is therefore like a criminal organization, giving the orders to the Mormons to do what they do. That's what's called RICO. It's an acronym. So, alrighty, that's the latest update for that article. And remember, guys, Brigham Young, blamed Joseph Smith so that he could do those things. So all of the things you've heard about Joseph Smith, notice they all came from Brigham Young and his followers. Not a coincidence, guys. Wake up, pay attention. Because you're being deceived and you're spreading the lies as ex-Mormons as well. So, Mormons are going to run and hide and hope that this will pass over so that they can emerge again saying that everything's fine, that's all in the past. We're not like that anymore. We're no longer sex predators, as the latest sex predator Mormon thing comes out in the news that day. This is something that is happening far too often and needs to stop. So, alright, there's one.